A country which rightly prides itself on its democratic traditions, the rule of law, its historical legacy of liberty, its devotion to reason and proportion. Now, think of the same country locking up a grieving mother for a tweet, re-imprisoning a 77-year-old activist because her wrists are too small for a tag, and simultaneously letting out convicted domestic abusers by mistake. That country, of course, is our own. We're living through a judicial farce, a theatre of absurdity in which the priorities of the criminal justice system seem to be entirely inverted, and the Prime Minister is somebody with skin in the game. If we begin with Lucy Connelly, because Boris Johnson did quite an interesting article about her 2 days ago or so in the Daily Mail. A mother, a woman in grief, someone who in the immediate aftermath of the appalling Southport murders reacted with a dreadful post on social media, a post that she quickly deleted and publicly regretted. No one was incited, no mob formed because of her. She begged for calm, she posed no ongoing threat to society. At least that's what we are reliably told. And yet she's in prison, a 31-month sentence, and her 12-year-old daughter is without her mother. And this is not apparently the result of a momentary lapse in our legal instincts. The Court of Appeal, in all its wisdom, upheld the sentence. Her imprisonment is not simply excessive, it's grotesque. And it's a sign of a country that has become so obsessed with online speech that it now regards thought, or at least the expression of raw emotion, as a form of violence. As Boris Johnson, in one of his more lucid and Churchillian moments, but in an otherwise fairly rambling article, said, Britain is not communist Albania. We do not or should not wake in fear that the police will knock on the door because we said something on Twitter that someone disliked, and yet here we are. And this is not the only case. I mentioned a few months ago, Gaie Delap, this 77-year-old grandmother, climate campaigner and member of Just Stop Oil. Her actions may have been disruptive, but they were peaceful. She was released from prison to serve the rest of her sentence under a home detention curfew, reasonable enough. But because she couldn't wear an ankle tag because of a medical condition and because her legs were so thin, and she couldn't wear a wrist tag because the Ministry of Justice, with all its technical prowess, doesn't have one small enough. The solution, not a doorstep curfew, not a monitored phone-in system. No, the decision was to recall her to prison. This is not justice. This is bureaucracy wearing a jackboot, and it's also staggeringly inefficient. We are wasting prison space on a 77-year-old whose greatest threat to public order is a politely worded placard and some zip ties. Now, here comes the real paradox, the heart of the madness. While Lucy Connelly and Gaie Delap languish in prison, the government is accidentally releasing violent offenders, 40 prisoners apparently. Many convicted of breaching restraining orders, including stalkers and abusers, have been set loose due to record-keeping error. 5 of them have not been recaptured. Thousands more are due for early release in a desperate attempt to manage overcrowding. And Starmer says this is necessary, blaming a broken system inherited from the Tories. And yes, much of the blame does lie there because the previous government didn't take note of what Rory Stewart so wisely put forward. But releasing domestic abusers and burglars while detaining harmless activists and distressed mothers seems to suggest a system beyond broken. It suggests a system that has lost its moral compass. And even Labour's own Victims Commissioner, Baroness Newlove, has expressed incredulity, and rightly so. This isn't restorative justice. This is random justice. This is knee-jerk law. This is madness. So I would like to ask this: what are we becoming if those who commit violent crimes are out early, laughing and drinking and quaffing sparkling wine outside HMP Liverpool, while a woman with a tragic past and a deleted tweet sits in a cell, and a pensioner with thin wrists awaits the knock of the prison van? John Stuart Mill, and by the way, I'm not a great supporter of the Lucy Connelly, Free Lucy Connelly binge. Which has been very much earmarked on GB News and so on. I'm not leaping onto that bandwagon. I'm simply saying there is an inconsistency here. and it doesn't seem right. John Stuart Mill spoke of liberty not as the freedom to say what is popular, but the freedom to say what is unpopular. And if we imprison Lucy Connelly, we abandon John Stuart Mill. If we reincarcerate Gaie Delap, we insult common sense. And that's what we've done. That's what we did over Christmas. If we release violent offenders for want of space, we invite catastrophe. This is not justice. It's misrule in a powdered wig. And if it continues, Boris Johnson may be right in one thing. The moderate, the sensible public will soon lose its patience with justice and demand a justice system that remembers who the real criminals are. And some of those real criminals surely are the people in power, the elite, who were promoting doubt, who were promoting the idea that the police were acting vengefully or inappropriately at the time of the Southport murders. Those people are still in positions of authority and power. And yet, Lucy Connelly is in prison. And I don't quite understand that contrast as well. I don't understand that contrast. There is something that has gone dramatically wrong when we're releasing prisoners because there's not space, and yet we're finding the space to keep somebody in prison who has done little more than some people who are regularly in the national news and who were promoting a serious doubt in our civil system. Serious doubt. I mean, they said they were themselves influenced by misdirected tweets from Andrew Tate. Well, we could all do that, couldn't we? Woo! Oh, I'm in trouble because Andrew Tate told me something. Woo! I listen to Andrew Tate. Well, I don't listen to Andrew Tate, so I suppose that's something of a relief. If you want a tateless taste of news, come here. Completely tateless.